But a lot of my brilliant ideas when it comes to work or whatever, right, tends to happen in the bathroom. So, I don't know about you lah. So I think having a sitting place when you shower is very important.
Too much information, I don't know. What's up guys? We are now in Eco Grande, one of the earlier bungalow phases around the area. So this is a bungalow lot, as you can see, and why we are doing this new series, right, is we realize a lot of our audience all made money from property investment or now start to live into landed homes, but what smacked them in the face is the amount of renovation needed to be done, right? So I thought this would be great reference because ultimately we all invest in properties, right, to have a very nice home. So today this is done up by the makeover guys, and we can get Gav to actually tour us around. Okay, so here we have Gav again.
Hello.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for doing this.
So because I saw the pictures online, right, I gotta see the real thing. So can you tell us a little bit about the house and how long it has been done up already?
This house has been completed for I think over a year already. The family has lived in very happily for the past year, but they are very kind to allow us to have this tour.
For 2 years already, they moved in.
Yeah, I think a year plus lah. They moved in a year plus already.
And why I purposely picked this project is because why, like, since when we start doing landed homes?
Actually, right, that's why I think the perception of the makeover guys is still like, you know, version 1, version 2. Actually, the past few years we've been doing a lot to upgrade the things that we do, increase our scope, increase the products that we serve, have more personalization and customization. So we allow a lot of that, and actually I would say that today's makeover guys, if you do come to the experience center, you'll realize it's actually like I would call it version 5, right? So actually, yes, so we've been doing landed homes for a while now. But of course, in terms of volume, it's still dominated by high-rise.
Yep. Very cool. So now I think we will mainly see the overall vibe of it, and we go down to cost, right? We go down to specification, materials. Let's go. So we can actually start from, I think this took my visual, like, these are done by us, right?
Yes. So all this is done by us. They wanted something very simple outside, but we did put in some thoughtfulness. Like for example, if it's raining, this is a place where you can hang your umbrellas, you can sit down, wear your shoes. But we want to keep it simple outside.
So that's why this is simple, you know.
It's simple.
so like this is one of the very rare things, because I think you guys also supplied this.
Yep.
And that's why the curve makes sense lah.
Yep.
A conventional one that you see in outside the house one is always stainless steel. A straight linear one, don't do too fancy because it's very provoking. But this one just kind of nice, and I assume the tones will be like this for the whole house also lah, right? Yeah, let's go into the living room.
Come, let's go. Come, check this place out.
Oh.
Welcome.
So, this is the living room. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about what this theme is all about?
Okay, so this theme is called Chic in Cairo. So if you look at it, you know, it's inspired by the vast sandy color tones of Cairo. And of course, you've got natural stones that stand out a little bit. But of course, you know, that's just the starting point, right? We need to make it relevant to today's world. We need to modernize it. We need to give it our own definition and our own spin of it. So hence, this design theme is called Chic in Cairo.
And the scope includes everything, right?
Everything, including furniture, decorations. A lot of these decorations, of course, the owner has added their personal touch inside, but you know, the canvas and the foundation of it is provided by us as well.
So the first thing to highlight, okay, so this is the TV cabinet.
Yes.
So I think for a lot of bungalows, the main issue is too many windows. Last time when you have older...
What a good problem, right?
Yeah, so then what are the challenges that you guys address around this location?
Okay, so one thing about windows, I love windows. I love big airy spaces. But on the other hand, right, if you're using it, especially in a living room, and especially if you're watching TV, the windows can sort of like, you know, be a bit glaring, right? But I don't like to sacrifice windows. So what we did here was instead, we tried to frame the window so that it becomes, you know, part of the design. And, you know, we wanted to frame it and really highlight it and enhance it. But on the other hand, with the blinds and all that, I think functionally, you can still choose whether you want a bright airy space If it's too glaring, you can close it. But we wanted to celebrate that. So as you can see, if you look at this, how we purposefully frame the window rather than downplay or hide it. I think that's one of the design intents when we designed this entire TV cabinet.
I like it how you blend the blinds and curtains together.
Yeah.
Because I think for first timers, right, we always think that it's either or.
Correct.
We cannot end.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So any advice like how to pick?
I think my personal advice would be, unless it's a hero centerpiece big window that you're trying to frame up, right? Big glass panels should, always use curtains to soften it. But on the other hand, the smaller windows, you can always use blinds to highlight it. Or every time you use blinds, I think inevitably that frame will become a highlight. So it really depends on whether you want to downplay it, soften it, or you want to, feature it out loud.
Yeah, because I realized that if all these panels, right, including the one at the foyer, if it's all curtain, then suddenly the whole space is cloth.
Correct. There's a totally different vibe, a totally different look.
Nice. Okay, so what a lot of IDs do is architects already design the window, but they close it. So to have a better movie theater experience, right? But I like that it's blocked out.
Yep.
Right, so it somewhat reduces the glare, but then whoever that's coming to the house, you can still see outside.
I still have a big.
And what's the design intent for
The angular panels, right?
Yeah, so that includes the ceiling as well.
Correct. So like you said, it's based on chic in Cairo. We wanted to give it a more relevant, a more modern look. But a little bit background on this house, right? So this house, of course, is owned by a very nice couple, but their parents are also living here. So one of the brief that, that was given is, the couple loves design, right? They asked us to go wild, but they also asked us to, hey, bear in mind, but my parents have to like it too. So go wild, but don't go too wild.
Yeah.
So, as a designer, actually, sometimes we get a little bit confused. Yeah. But with that being said, I think a lot of thought has been put into this to make that happen. So we wanted to give it a more, updated, refreshed look. So of course, if you look at it, we have small organic shapes, right? Not small organic shapes to soften the whole mood, but we wanted the design to be timeless as well. And hence, I think that the priority goes to straight lines because I feel that straight lines will always be timeless, right? On the other hand, too many straight lines can sometimes appear a little bit too harsh and cold. And we needed to soften it. So angular design was one of the methodologies that we used to soften it. And if you look at our the selection of furniture pieces, it's a little bit more organic. Again, to give it that balance so that the place has to appear homely and cozy.
Yeah, because on a normal setting, right, this would be straight. It's just going to be very standard.
Very boxy. It'll have a very boxy feel to it.
Yeah, but this one just gives you a very nice touch to it, right? And it plays very well with the ceiling as well. So if you look into the ceiling, right, what a way to hide the lights on this side.
Yes.
Usually we will box out, then the light comes from this side and it kind of fights for attention with the main,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So that's very, very cool.
So on the night mode, right, so instead of, having harsh downlights, now the owners have an option, let's forget all downlights and just turn on ambient lights. But if the ambient light is a little bit too close to the wall, then, it won't spread as far. So again, we had to balance that out and we thought, hey, let's continue the design intent and the design language to the ceilings as well.
I also like this very peekaboo kind of like.
Yeah.
So it's just nice, right? But then it's hidden. So like your team also, not including this, I don't think.
Not including this. This is the owners.
Wow, if got that, I sure we get one. So everything is all supplied by the team.
Yes. So everything is supplied by us, from coffee tables to sofa to lounge chairs to all the additional sittings, except this, rugs, decorations. So it's all curated by us, pick vendors, and sent here to match.
So before we proceed further, I think the very important question is berapa
How
duit?
much? Berapa duit? So this particular house, I think the owner invested around 160, 180 per square feet. But it includes some wet works as well, right? Because some of the rooms, like the parents' room, there's some walls that we tore down. We did a little extension at the back so that they can dry their clothes. We concrete the floor. So there are wet works involved as well. We redid the entire washroom as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so just some reference for the audience at home, right? Like even for renovation works, we calculate things by per square feet too. Although we look at properties like, okay, this is 500,000, all right? But it's very important as a metric for comparison, especially when you have a different quotations, right? Price per square feet.
Yeah.
So then we can really guesstimate like what's involved in the cost itself. If not, it's going to be 50,000 or 80,000. But
No context.
so when we go down to the similar metric, right?
Yeah.
That would be a very good comparison for things.
Yeah, and even per square feet, I think there are a few differences, right? Because some mention about renovation. The word renovation means wet work extension and all the finishing, so they give you a per square feet price. But sometimes those per square feet price may not include loose furniture or electrical appliances per se. So we also need to look at the metrics like that per square feet price. Does it include furnishing? Does it include soft finishing? Does it include electrical appliances, or just purely the renovation per se? So in this context, it's all inclusive. Move in ready.
No massage chair lah.
No massage chair. Sorry, no massage chair.
So like I'm so distracted by the form of the table.
Nice, right?
So I'm still getting used to it because this
Cairo,
meaning like if your house is not at a certain
Size.
scale,
Yeah.
it's very, very like if you put this in my house, right, it looks like a cloud.
Correct.
So like here it looks like a very nice pebble.
Correct. So I think you rightfully pointed out, I mean, when we select furniture, when we curate furniture, I think it has to be relative to the size, right? If you put this in a small condo, I think it will be overbearing, a bit too big, and like you say, it look like cloud. Here it looks like, what it's supposed to look like, stone in Cairo.
So this as well,
Yeah.
I like this little splash of colors.
Yep.
That just stands out among the rest.
Yep. So you'll notice that one of the common color that we use to pop out, including the choice of stone, is this reddish maroon brown color that we selected as the highlight color. Because if everything is the same singular color, that would be look boring, right? But like I mentioned earlier, because there are two generations living here, even when I want to pop, I have to be a bit mindful. I can't pop too loud. So yeah, this was what we came up with.
What a challenge to design, right? Between what's timeless and what's exciting. And yeah, right?
Correct.
It's like when you have a service apartment, if you have a 500 square feet space, to be exciting is very, very different compared to a 4,000 square feet house.
Correct. I think based on experience, if you've always been looking at design trends, if you're looking at one, then after a while you sort of realize, what's a trend and what is timeless. Because I think you need to look at it long enough to know that what really stands the test of time, right? Say, for example, elements like rounded corners. I love it. And it's really quite hard to define because rounded corners to me is timeless. But overused rounded corners, right, when it becomes the hero of the house, when it's on big arches, when it's on, larger part and becomes the central focus of design, I feel that, elements like that could be a trend. Of course, I could be wrong, right? But again, this is how generally I feel about it.
Nice settee chair.
Nice, huh?
No, because my house got no settee, so I'm
Oh,
very foreign to settee.
Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah, so so you look into the chair, the height of it is also
Low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so big on this chair.
Yeah.
So I think that allows more interaction between the dining space and the living space people, right? But the double seating height is the hero,
Correct.
right? I think that's the job.
Correct. So when we took this space, of course, the double ceiling height was the first thing, wow, there's so many things that we can do here. This will definitely be the hero or the centerpiece area because of the high ceiling, right?
You should look at the editor can pop out the picture of what they shot, right? That's the shot that got us here today, right? So if you have a double ceiling height area, how do you solve the curtain issue? Is this it must be custom, right?
It is custom, it's definitely custom. So previously we spoke about blinds versus curtains, right? I think curtains work really well with large windows. So especially with its double volume, look at the flowiness of this. The minute it's draped down, it gives that grandiose feeling to the space and it really softens the whole house, rather than it appear like, a very commercial, harsh.
Okay, so can you just share how?
It's motorized. There's a remote somewhere, let me find it. Inside here, I think it is this.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's motorized. Nice.
So that is also included in the scope?
Yes, that's also included in the scope.
Okay.
I mean, we have to make things practical, right? And when it comes to double volume, let me figure out how to open it. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, because the very normal thing to do is people just cover the bottom.
Oh, sorry, I opened the shear.
Yeah, and there's 2 layers to it.
Yeah, so let me close the shear now.
Okay, so if budget is not a problem, it shouldn't be like if you own this kind of house, right? It's a must to have a shear and total block out. Lah.
Yeah.
So, well, that solves one misery. But the other one is people do half only, so you kind of lose the character of the space totally. Lah. Because I think the original intent of the architect is to really let daylight
sunlight
just render the space, right? So, moving on, what's this material? This is not your conventional China marble.
Correct. So this is called Orobito marble. So this whole table is custom made. So like I said, all this is included in our scope as well, right? So again, we needed a pop of color to the space, right? So we found this marble to be the perfect fit for it. So you can see there's this peachy brownish pop of color. And one thing about this marble is I think when we chose it that time, we also knew that we had to be very, very careful with the application. Because if it's applied wrongly and we don't give it a more current look, it can look very old and dated. You always see these in very dated spaces. But again, what was crucial to us was, how do we use, something that can be easily perceived as old-fashioned and revitalize it and present it in a very, current manner. So notice the details. What we did was, I think some of these details is what gives it that, current, trendy characteristics, right?
The double...
Correct. The double bull nose. So we mixed with solid wood and we gave it this rounded curve. Again, our intent is to soften the place, right? So so these are some of the details that we did. And of course, being a Chinese family, we are very used to having a lazy Susan, eat together, family eat together, share food. So we also custom designed this using the same material.
Includes the deco as well, right? So
includes this
the
as well.
bowling ball.
Yeah. This was part of our selection.
But just to feature also the bottom, the
three legs.
the 3 legs of the table, right? So I think
different sizes.
I just realized, right, if this is lacquered, this is polished to be glossy.
It may give off a different vibe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you see. That's why you are doing what you do, because you're very sharp. So this is a leather finish. So it gives it that very matte look. Again, we needed to
leather.
It's called leather. So if you touch it, it really feels like leather. It's stone, but it feels like leather, right?
Yeah. So it's not the glossy, very slippery kind of.
Correct. Because we needed to give it a modern twist.
And you applied consistently across the space, I see.
Yes.
So like across the...
Even the shelves, a pop of color from this, this whole panel is just wood, right? It's just a singular color. So we wanted to give it a little pop. So we added this orbital marble here as well.
You can just imagine if this is white, right? It's just...
Or just, the same color wood.
I think it all makes sense because it's very matte. It's very earthy, natural materials, right? That includes the doorknob too. Right, so I really appreciate the teams, this little thingy here.
The details, right?
It's just a doorknob lah, bro, right? But I think when you look at it as a piece of art, this maybe becomes the highlight of it, right? Yeah. So this whole panel is all enclosed too.
Correct.
So so this is the parents' room.
This is the parents' room. It's supposed to be a hidden door, but there's a reason why we made it not so hidden, because
I cannot find the door.
Correct. Later cannot find the door, and we included details like this because sometimes elderly folks, it may not be practical to leave them with a hidden door and then cannot open from outside, one side locked. So we made sure that we could access the room.
Like for my house also, I applied this exact same paneling system because just imagine when you have guests in the dining space, then the whole space is just overwhelmed with doors. Here you got the storeroom door, kitchen door,
correct.
bedroom door, right? Too many doors. So I think this, again, budget shouldn't be a problem at this price range. But then I think the treatments of this is very nice. So
this is the true hidden door.
Yeah, so the paneling is just one more layer where you can just close it all together. Right, so you won't be restricted by the color of the doors. Because for developers, right, they always like, what's the ultimate color of the door? But the ID is always restricted. Imagine you have, what chic in Cairo, then you have yellow popped out like Pikachu came out. So I think this is one way that I can really do up the space. I like the floating cabinets, easy for cleaning.
Yeah, and not only that, if it's on the floor, right, floating always makes big bulky furniture feel a lot lighter, right? So at least the whole space feels a lot lighter now.
And what is this?
Well, this was quite a challenge to do, but I'm quite proud of the team for doing this. So, we wanted 2 shelves, but shelves can be pretty thick, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want it to, steal the thunder from this stone. We wanted the stone to be the highlight of the space. So, it cannot be too imposing. It has to look clean. It has to look, very, very, very clean, very nice. So what we did was, there's actually a hidden steel bar at the back that's welded, so that this thing is strong and sturdy and yet that only we cover with the panel, so that this gives us a sense of floating shelves.
Wow, just imagine if like this is a similar color to it, right? As it's really, wow, it's like camouflaging. Also the consistency, I appreciate, like you have the edge, just like the one in the front.
Yeah.
Then you have the little peekaboo-like. And you see a space that nobody really cares, right? The height of the really wonderful double ceiling height. You see that's the curve of the wall.
Yeah.
It's a foley, but then it takes a lot of attention to just put in so much effort, right, for a space that no one really pay attention to. So like just by looking at here, right, you have this edge here that is a bit more harsh, more dynamic, but then you have this smooth flowing things on the top. Okay, moving on.
Moving on. So we custom built this door.
Wow.
That's why it's quite large. And it opens both ways again, because when you're cooking, you really need, sometimes you're carrying a lot of stuff, or if you're just, after you bought groceries, you need to go to the kitchen. So we needed a door that was big, grand, looks good, and still not imposing and not restricting.
And it's safe. You can see both sides.
You can see both sides.
Ooh.
Okay, so again, back to the background of the family living here. The parents love to cook. The couple themselves don't really cook. So really this kitchen was designed for the parents. And so the parents are in their 70s. So the design challenge given to us was, it has got to be practical. The parents have got to love it, but the design language has to flow. So again, we didn't want to be too adventurous here. We wanted to give it a very timeless, very clean, very, in a way, slightly more conservative design and still very practical, right? Because the focus is on the parents cooking. They love to cook. And we noticed, right, we include a TV because they love to cook while watching movies or watching series and TV and YouTube and stuff like that.
I thought I was there. I thought it was my channel. But I realized the design language is very toned down compared to the living space to here.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so even the marble that we chose, is not as loud, but it's still a similar family.
Yeah.
But it's less veiny.
it's not as harsh, it's not as hard.
Yeah.
So like when your customers consist of different generations, right, and different needs, right? So any advice for those like?
I think in a house, right, everyone, although it consists of different generation, different people, everyone will sort of have their own little territory where they are, the main character in that territory. So I think it's very important that, we take that in mind. And I mean, design interior spaces is meant to complement the main character's lifestyle, right? So everything has to be designed, revolve around that person. So I think the key difference in owning your own home and then designing your own home is that you get to design the house based on my lifestyle. Whereas if I'm renting a home, I have to adapt my lifestyle to whatever that's provided. You get what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So if I just have this habit of watching TV in the kitchen, I install a TV lah. But if I'm renting, I think the mindset, if I'm designing to rent or what, the tenants or people renting have to adapt to it.
Yeah, I think that's one key consideration for, because okay, ultimately a lot of people buy landed homes is to host the family.
Correct.
When you have everybody live under the same house, so you will have also a lot of guests to come in.
Correct.
So part of the house is somewhat like a showcase.
I wouldn't say showcase, but it's an extension and reflection of what you like. Right?
Then it needs to jive with a level of practicality as well.
Correct.
And I think that the balance against cost,
Correct.
right, that's the tough part to do.
That's
right?
the tough part.
So like the design time for this house, right? How long does it took?
I think the whole design took around, there was a lot of back and forth, but the owner wasn't in a hurry. So the brief given to us was, I want to make it right the very first time. So I think the whole design process took around three months. Yeah, and then the build took around 3 months as well.
Oh, built to only 3 months.
Yeah.
And do always take into consideration on the design time. Yeah, a lot of people would think like, yeah, design why so long? Like today we discussed, right? Send me a drawings later.
You see, that's why we have multiple products, right? In
Yeah.
short timeline, sometimes picking things from a catalog is what is important to you. But if you want something that's built around you, first we need to understand you, right? We need to understand your lifestyle needs. And it's not just about you, right? Because your whole family is going to be living here. We need to understand
Yeah, the stakeholders.
the stakeholders, the main characters of each territory, how they live, what's their preference, all that. So it takes time. And sometimes I also think that, words are not very efficient means of communicating, right? If I can mind read you, I think that's the best. So you have to allow time for that back and forth, and then as we go through the process, we learn more about you, we learn more about preference. So that takes time.
Cool. So here I see is they kind of change the backsplash here into the stone. Then this is provided by a developer.
Yep.
The 5 to 7 feet wall. Yeah. So so this is a means that they don't burst the budget, right? It would be cooler if I just whack this off and make the whole thing stone.
Correct.
But I still see signs of working around a budget.
Correct.
Like this one, I think is somewhat provided. Then you have the jagged, right? So that's the key lah. So how I wish I got unlimited budget, right?
Me too.
But then these are the places where you kind of need advices on how to balance between what's given against what you want at the restriction of budget and time. Cool. Is this the pull out? Yeah, so all the storage. So all these are pushed. So you don't have the hinges or the Tupperwares. Malaysian.
This is a Malaysian thing.
Yeah, Malaysian thing. So also there are more expensive ways to do this. Like you can have one layer only, but then the structural integrity of it gets to be really. So they kind of just stack this, a very efficient way to do it also. Yep. Nice. Wow, this kitchen is bigger than my house. So now we are in the master bedroom.
Yes.
But before that, I shout out to the owners for letting us check out their house, right?
Yeah,
This is so good. Like 1 year already, 1 year you don't come into for me lah. Okay, so first thing I noticed is the flooring.
So again, to match back with the theme, the original floor just simply couldn't make it. But again, we didn't want to overspend, so we just gave it a new layer of SPC over it lah.
I think the benefit is after you move out, you want to sell the house, the next owner can easily just
take it out and still the original,
original condition of the house. Okay, so I think master bedroom usually is all empty, so all these cabinets are done up.
Correct.
And what stands out a lot is the knobs.
Correct. Okay, so a little bit more context. The owner is also a big believer in feng shui. So there were a lot of requirements in the bedroom, right? Like for example, the place where they sleep has to be really clean, right? So cannot be too busy, cannot be a lot of things. On top of that, we had to block that flow so that the door and the place that they sleep is contained. So hence, this is the layout that we came up with. This wardrobe now also acts as the partition, to give that bedroom its own secluded place, and we want to keep the resting spot like really clean and calm.
What a nice way to say. So okay, usually what people always do is they partition, like they build a wall just for partition's sake.
Correct.
But then you kind of double use the partition as a cabinet.
Yeah.
And because in landed houses like this, right, the canvas is big. So if you don't put built-in cabinets, right, everything one go. So in terms of like privacy point of view, I come in, I can see everything, right? Not very good one in feng shui beliefs. So now, nice.
And like you mentioned, the handles. So I think the team did a really good job besides just the handles, right? So the handles are different shapes. Later you'll notice a lot of decorative items. We introduced small little organic shapes to tone it down and soften the whole place. So the handles, one of it, you'll see a lot of decorative items, it's in the shape of a ball.
This is...
you see, this is one of it that I spoke about, right? So even the handle of this bar is like a ball. Consistency throughout the whole space.
This one you ask them on this one, right? Right? But I see the consistency of this stone, and this is the sliding mirror.
Correct. So again, when we designed this space, again because there are restrictions of feng shui and all that, we also identified this space to be a very good space, you know, to do your makeup and stuff like that. Because you got daylight, you got sunlight, but of course, then comes the problem of a mirror, right? So what we designed was this floating mirror that if you want more sunlight, you can actually open up, then you can see next door. But if you do need to use this as a dressing table, you can pull this out and then you can use it as a dressing table. Ooh.
You just slap two functions into a space,
Yeah.
right? It's not like this house got no space lah, but yeah, it's just more efficient. Then I see the consistency in the
Angular.
structural kind of language. And
Floating again, so that it's not too bulky. Because this area itself has a lot of built-ins already, wardrobe unit, full height. So if we are to add on another full height here, it becomes so boxy, and this is the first view that you see when you come in the room. So I think this space is especially important to make it lighter and more inviting.
what tips can you give the audience, right, in picking furnitures? So like for a lot, based on my friends' experience when they do our house, cabinet all nice, lighting all nice, aircon all nice, right? Then they pick their own furniture.
Yeah.
Which kind of, like, okay, just replace this to like the mahjong chair, right? The plastic one that you see in a kopitiam, right? It wouldn't make sense, right? But then like, if I were to pick designer one, I pun tak tahu.
Yeah.
So like, what are...
I think there are different sorts of people, right?
Yeah.
Some people are driven by aesthetics. Like for example, like, to me, I think form and function is important. But if I really have to pick one, I pick form over function. Ideally, I have both. But some people, form is not so important. Function is more important. So it really depends on type of person you are. But of course, when you pick one or the other, you cannot like totally neglect and then put something that sticks out like a sore thumb lah. So I think, yeah, my tip is number one, understand who you are, right? If you value practicality, you need armrest, you need comfort, find something that is comfortable first. But then secondly, make sure that it suits the team lah. Don't find something that's like way out.
My way of working with the team is get them to propose on like, okay, these are our suggestions, then I go out and find. So if they are still the cheapest, then I go with them lor. So that's the easier way to hack it up. Because if not, right, the overallness of the space is just affected a lot lah. So this is the... Ooh.
Yeah. So this is the bedroom. So like I said, this space is meant to be very clean, nothing too fancy. Originally there was a window here, but again we had to cover it due to the advice from the feng shui master. So we thought it was a very good opportunity to give the space a little bit more character. Since we can't do much with in terms of design or actually boldness or what, so we gave it a little curved wall again, just to give the space a little more character lah.
Yep. And the fluted panels.
Yeah.
And this is like the corrugated paper kind of language. I think this is the hard part, where you want calm, you want peace, you use very consistent patterns and language, right? But yet cannot be too loud, yet you cannot, wow.
That's why I say words is very inefficient. You know? Because if you really think about it, oh, I cannot be too loud, but I want to look nice, but I want to have character. It's very hard to translate this into visual. But
So how was it agreed upon? Is it a rendering or is it a
it was a
picture?
rendering. It was a rendering.
Oh, okay.
But you see, I think understanding that and then knowing what to do, picking up these keywords and then figuring out to, and that's the real value if you engage someone else, whoever that you work with. That's why when we hire a good designer, say per se, we tend to use the word chemistry, right? Wow, chemistry, she gets me. So I think that part where, you know, wow, she gets me or they get me, that's very important for this sort of relationship.
Yeah, so sometimes one designer that gets you might price higher or things like that, right?
Yeah.
It's efficient. If not, right? Oh, I thought you like this. I thought you like that. I assume. Wow.
Correct.
Leceh, ah.
Yeah.
And these are the windows that was originally with the house.
Yep.
Envious. Hanya boleh cakap I envious. Okay, so this is the bathroom, and you guys do bathrooms too.
Yes. In this case, we did. We totally revamped this bathroom. So originally it was a standard 1x1 tiles, but there was a bathtub, and the owner wanted to remove the bathtub. So we thought since we had to remove the bathtub and a lot of the tiles are going to be, we have to take it out anyway, right? I thought it was a good opportunity to give it a brand new look. Yeah.
Oh, this is so nice.
So this is like, you know, when you mandi, you can actually sit down and ponder life.
Thought you mandi and we can king kai, we can...
No lah, don't kick. I mandi alone. I don't know about you. I mandi alone. where you can ponder life.
So the whole toilet was revamped, meaning like, oh, because you take out the bathtub, all the tiles will eventually be damaged.
Correct.
And this is the original.
This is original.
Hey, is it stickered? So
Yeah, gave it a privacy.
also you kind of stick the frosted layer. And there's something about showering with sunlight into the
Yes.
cold water splashing through.
Even better if it's like semi-outdoor shower. Wow. You know, you go resort, they like doing man. So there's something about showering with sunlight that people are just drawn to.
And this is also a trend actually. There's a sitting space in the shower. Of course, this comes if your shower is big enough.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know about you, but a lot of my brilliant ideas when it comes to work or whatever, right, tends to happen in the bathroom. So, I don't know about you lah. This type of inspiration, right? Sometimes when alone time, me time, I shower, then I'm like, actually I could do that lah. So I think having a sitting place when you shower is very important.
too much information, I don't know. but what I like is like the intentional selection of the door fluted panels, right? That matches even the gap, right, of the lines.
It's more or less this is right.
Yeah, so it feels not too much like normal logic, like no too many lines too much texture here, floor texture here, texture, right? But then when you all turn out okay.
So there has to be some consistency. If you're choosing different textures, right, then maybe the visual representation have to have some consistency. Then you can layer different textures of the same, same language. But if everything is different, you have your stripes, then you have your checks, then you have this, then it becomes a little bit.
What materials is this?
It's tiles.
So it comes in one piece like that?
Correct, it comes with 1 by 1. There's a net behind. So it's easier application. But truth be told, when we lay it, right, because the net is loose, right? So I think it's...
Some of the line crooked.
So the workmanship is very, very modern.
I see another version is like the Raya kind of green one.
Yes.
The Raya kind of green. I think that a lot of people use that, right?
Yes, that's pretty popular as well.
Selamat. So I think this is the next bedroom.
Yep. This is guest bedroom.
And this is our usual apartment approach, right?
Keep it simple, keep it not too investment heavy because it's guest room, right?
Yeah. So that is also another not break the bank kind of approach. Like, okay, if these are timber panels, again, like more panels, more wood, more whatever, right? But somehow it looks the same. It doesn't feel the same, but it looks the same. So a different approach is just use paint and
wallpaper highlights.
Wallpaper highlights. So I think this is also one way, like you want more textures, like the blinds works. Ceiling is also done up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plaster.
So when you have targeted areas of lightings, right? So it adds up the space.
Correct. So it's strategically put above your bedside. So although this is not ideal for reading because it's just a guest room, right? But at night it does give that glow to the two side tables.
But I think one nice strategy is the paints on two opposite walls. So it kind of elongates the space a little bit. Because originally, right, this guest room always feel very small. But because this is a bungalow, so the benefit of a bungalow is you have a lot of windows. So like in this very room, right, there's like 1, 2, 3 windows.
Yeah, so it feels very airy and roomy.
Yeah, so when you have the ends highlighted, right, it kind of elongates the space further. But build up still the same lah. Okay, so I think that is about it. So here, similar approach also. But this one you have the donut, not the fishball.
Still round, but too many of the same thing is a bit too boring, right?
Yeah.
So these are a bit two-dimensional rather than three-dimensional.
All are done by the team as well.
Yep.
This one also?
No.
Oh, that's not. That's added by the...
I have no idea what this is. Oh!
That's cool.
That's cool. It's a wastepaper basket.
Yeah, but it looks...
Yeah.
It ties with the interior all together. Yep, and I guess that's all. And I guess that's all for today. Thank you for your time. Right, then also shout out to the owners, very kind people to kind of clear the house and let us shoot again, right? What's very surprising is, again, I didn't know the team has such things in the collection, right? So since When
I think we've been doing this as an ad hoc project since, you know, I think 5 years ago. So of course, in terms of sheer volume, what you see, the representation of makeover guys that you see outside, in terms of sheer volume, is what you usually see, right? But behind the scenes, I think from 5 6 years ago, we've always been doing bespoke, customized projects. And you're right. I think we don't really talk about it much. We don't even showcase it a lot. And I think it's time to change that, lah.
and like if you guys are having a landed homes, right, you want most of the time when you achieve this amount of wealth level, you want something uniquely yours, right? And this is not found in the catalog at all.
No, no, no. So Makeover Guys started as a very concentrated approach, you know, to solve property investors, help you rent it out. So that's how we started, right? And as we grew, to me, that was targeting a very niche market. And of course, as we grew, our offerings had to grow too, right? So I think along the years, we introduced Easy Home, which was, you know, a simplified way to renovate a house affordably. And after that, we launched with partnerships with developers. We launched new products like partnership with different brands. And actually this year we're launching something new again. So again, I see a demand for, of course, demand for bespoke homes, this custom made, designed from ground up. I don't want my house to look like anyone else's house. We get that. But all this one, we've always had, you know, number one, a capacity problem, a supply chain problem. We need to make sure that, you know, the things that we provided is of certain quality. There was R&D and all that. And I think throughout these 5 years of doing all these customized projects, I think we are finally ready. The supply chain is ready, the R&D team is ready, the team is ready, the talents are ready. So as a sneak peek, we've not even mentioned this anywhere else, but we may be launching something called a bespoke series this year. So
Why must come after my house is completed?
your house is quite bespoke.
Yeah, true lah, true,
Yeah.
true, true,
Yeah.
true, true.
Certain areas.
So it's
it
going
is
to be like
bespoke.
the experience
It's
lah.
going to be like that experience. Everything, your house is designed ground up, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Especially the center part, right? So it's true collectively all these years, right, that we've done all this bespoke series that I think it's time lah. We're finally ready
Cool.
to launch something like that.
Yep. Well, that's all for today. Thank you very much. So
Thank you.
if you guys need opinions, need quotation, you can just click the link down below. I don't know whether it's a bespoke link or whatever link. You just like, hey, I heard from Sean, he said some bespoke thingy.
I also don't know how it's going to be yet. It's
Yeah.
too early, you see.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's going to be a surprise for everybody. But again, shout out to the owners. What a wonderful home. This is definitely dream home category. But yeah, so hopefully more audiences will make money from properties from the next property bull run. Then we all stay rumah cantik-cantik.
Yes.
Rumah sedap macam ni. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.